Debbie and I are here for our Friday weekly roundup. And I thought we'd start off with the topic of gun control. I was just watching some guy posting on social media, and he was saying, in effect, hey, look, you've got these European countries and Australia, and they have mentally ill people, but they have gun control, and they don't have as many mass shootings as we do. So he's like, you conservatives keep saying it's the lunatic, it's not the gun. But if you restrict the availability of guns, the lunatics are also disarmed. This seems to be the premise.
The lunatics will find something else to kill with, such as knives, such as vehicles. So that is so not true. I mean, they will find something else. But I just want to point people to a couple of really good websites to go to just to kind of look at the debate of the gun violence. And one of them, can you read that?
It's just crimeresearch.org.
Crimeresearch.org. And then the other one is usconcealcarry.com. And they just pull like fact fiction, all kinds of articles. But I to your point, I want to talk about the fact that every time there's a mass shooting, liberals immediately start with, we need to take away the guns. We need to limit the
weapons
assault
of
weapons.
war.
Right. So we need to ban assault rifles. We need to ban high capacity magazines, all those things. But this particular website, the crimeresearch.org website, actually says that the vast majority, 56% of mass shootings are done with a handgun only, not a high capacity magazine or an assault rifle. So to that, it says it also has that the finding suggests with laws that are very strict on gun control. It says laws which regulate the what, meaning what guns products are allowed, do not have much of an impact on overall population homicide. In contrast, laws that regulate the who has legal access to firearms, may have an appreciative impact on firearm homicide, especially if access is restricted specifically to those people who are at the greatest risk of violence, namely people who have a history of violence or represent an imminent threat of violence. So crazy people, essentially.
Well, I think it's a key distinction, and it's one I hadn't really quite thought of, the what as opposed to the who. So the what is the object. Let's say, for example, I used the analogy earlier of pens. Let's just say that there were certain people who were martial arts experts or whatever who were using pens to stab people. You have two choices here, and let's say this was a serious societal problem. You could say, all right, well, we're going to outlaw pens. Nobody can use a pen. And then every law-abiding person would have to turn in their pens. Or you could say, well, listen, there's a certain type of homicidal maniac in our society that uses these pens as a weapon. Is there a way to identify who those people are? And if there is, don't let them have access to pens. So that's basically what you're saying. It's the who instead of the what. And seems to me to be a much better way to think about it.
And there are laws in place right now today in America and in states, in most states, that ban these kinds of people from having these weapons. The problem is, and we know it just like anybody else knows it, criminals don't care. Crazy people don't care. Maybe crazy people don't even have the ability to care, right? They don't have the cognitive, like, oh, this is wrong, I shouldn't be doing this. No, they don't have that. But it's one of those things where the law itself is not going to prevent these mass shootings. And the fact of the matter is a lot of these people will find other ways to find guns and weapons and whatnot. Even if their name comes up, let's say they go to a gun store and the store owner or worker or whatever says, oh, I can't sell you a gun. And it doesn't sell them a gun. Do you really think that person's going to go, oh, I guess I'm on that list. Too bad. I'm just going to go home and think of something else to do. No. So
So, I mean, to sum up, would you agree that if there are two things that can be done here, one would be focusing on making sure that people who are dangerous or psychotic or schizophrenic, homicidal in that way, restrict their access to guns? That's the first thing. And the second thing is, in areas that have vulnerability, particularly places like, well, we know this already about airplanes, but certainly schools, you do have certain armed people, not necessarily teachers, maybe it's security guards who are equipped to deal with mass shootings. And that's going to not only be a good response tool, but a deterrent. The mass shooter is going to be like, wait a minute, I might be facing some fire myself before I even get to do my mass shooting.
I think that's important. But like I told you, you mentioned earlier, I do think keeping people away from the general population is probably the best thing to do, because those crazy people are going to find ways to kill people. They're going to either do it with guns or they're going to do it with knives or trucks or whatever. And so if we identify who those people are, put them in an institution, lock them up for as long as it takes, maybe we wouldn't be talking about all these mass shootings.